we believe that this is God's creation, and therefore we have a right to protect it and a responsibility. And if we're going to be muzzled as a public, we're going to speak out with words, because words and pictures can say what you won't hear in a process that's not involving public participation. So you'll hear from us more and more like this and in other ways, and you won't shut up the people who want to stop this.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. All right. Yay.
Listen, I am from Warren County, North Carolina, where we have spent 30 years dealing with the fantasy of containment. There is no containment, not of toxic waste, not of nuclear waste, and you can go back to your drawing boards and come up with regulations, and the working group can do this, and they can recommend everything they want to the governor, but guess what? The community here and all the people downriver all the way through North Carolina to Virginia Beach are going to stop this facility. We're going to join together and we're going to stop it.
Whatever it takes. All right. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. 550 people were arrested in Warren County in this largest civil rights movement in the South since Dr. Martin Luther King marched through Alabama. It launched the environmental justice movement, and it sent a message to communities across North Carolina who were then targeted for toxic and hazardous nuclear waste facilities. And they have all been, except for one, successfully stopped because people did exactly what we're here doing. They took control of their lives. They took control of our right in a democratic society to represent ourselves. And that's what this community is going to do with the help of North Carolina.
Amen. All right.
I want to know how many jobs are going to be lost if they lift the ban. We have a $55 billion a year agricultural industry. Right now we hear that France, Champagne district, their water is radioactive and contaminated. Who's going to want to buy French wine when they get that?
You believe that? That's unbelievable that you
It's
actually
not
believe
unbelievable,
that.
it's true.
I actually drank that French wine last summer. Okay, I was just outside.
If you drank enough, you won't care what happened.
It's a lie. Those are lies.
What's lies? I didn't say a lie, Google it.
I'm the executive director of the River Basin Association.
Wait a minute, this gentleman.
We have here today Paul Robinson from the Southwest New Mexico to make a presentation. Paul, come forward and say a few things to the group here about who we're working with here.
Hi there, good afternoon. Nice rain you got here. One of the things I think that's very striking, and I'm interested in hearing the working group's perceptions, is that there was a very thorough and detailed study by an independent scientific organization, the National Academy of Sciences. And apparently that work wasn't good enough, because there's a new working group that doesn't have any of that independence or technical expertise, but does have good political bona fides. So I've been invited by Roanoke Basin Association to observe the working group process and try and see how much integrity they have relative to the premier national science organization in this country. Because that was a very unique study that looked at a wide range of problems, and this working group doesn't have the resources or the technical expertise or the political independence of that group. So it'll be an interesting listening process for me and hopefully for you all.
So what was it that the Academy of Sciences study recommended?
Well, they recommended that the state evaluate the range of technical problems that have been found and to try and determine whether it should adopt a program or not, since there's no viable market for the uranium at the current prices and is not going to be viable for decades.
How do you know what the uranium market is going to be in decades?
Because there's never been a uranium mill that has operated for 30 years in a row, and that's the proposal here. So it would be completely unprecedented. And the price that the uranium reached in 2007, $130 a pound, didn't last for a month. And the price has been stuck in the $70 to $50 range for the last 4 years. And that's not enough to support mining in a virgin district like this one, when there's new mines opening in Kazakhstan, Niger, Canada,
So
Australia.
the U.S. should buy its uranium from Kazakhstan.
No, the U.S. should use the uranium it's already mined and blend it down from the weapons grade. It's been doing with the U.S.
Right. And that program ends in 2013, right?
But there's plenty of uranium left, and that program is being extended. And there's new uranium enrichment blending going on in Russia and in the U.S. The Department of Energy seeking to use some of its uranium reserves. There's several 100,000 tons of uranium equivalent at the uranium enrichment plants in this country. We just use the Russian uranium to try and reduce the nuclear weapons risk, which is a perfectly legitimate thing to do, but doesn't need new uranium mining to accomplish.
I'm Rex Springston. I'm with the Richmond Times-Dispatch. A lot of folks have been expressing opposition for quite some time. Are y'all telling us something new here tonight?
Well, we have a question. We don't know where the governor got $500,000 to pay for a consulting firm from Colorado that doesn't have an exemplary record. Actually, there's lawsuit after lawsuit in Colorado shutting down the mines where the federal government is stepping in. And we want to know why our governor spent $500,000 of our tax dollars during trying times to pay for an environmental consulting firm in a state that has a soiled reputation.
I'd like to add that, yes, we do have a new message. And because we're going to go through due process as any community or any community that's targeted for a high-risk facility will have to do. But it's not incumbent on this community to have to justify what the cost of uranium is or the value of it in the long run. We are going to fight for our waters. We're going to fight for the waters from here to the coast. And I'm here as a North Carolina resident who's been involved in environmental activism for 30 years, and I'm in touch with lots of groups in North Carolina. We're here to tell you that North Carolina supports you and that we will take this all the way to civil disobedience. If that's the message you want to hear tonight, that's the message we're sending.
Speaking of North Carolina, tonight we have with us Mike Pucci, who is chairman of the North Carolina Coalition Against Uranium Mining. Mike who wants to say a few words and answer any questions.
I think we do have something new, and this debate has been had in this community and in the state of Virginia for some time now. And where has North Carolina's voice been? Well, today it's being represented as the North Carolina Coalition, which constitutes all of the county governments, the Council of Mayors for the Roanoke River Basin, the Chambers of Commerce in Roanoke Rapids, the Chambers of Commerce at Lake Gaston, and all the property owners at Lake Gaston and at Carr Lake and the property all the way down to the Sound. All of the county governments, all of the lake associations, all of the Chambers of Commerce and business leaders have passed resolutions to support the people in Virginia to keep this ban.
Right.
1 million people. 1 million people in North Carolina, 7 counties and many municipalities draw their drinking water from the Roanoke River.
And we like clean water.
Everyone likes clean
where
water.
are we going to go to replace that drinking water in the event of one spill from the Bannister River and the Coalsill site down into the Roanoke River? It'll be toxic forever. The Roanoke River is the lifeblood of the northeast part of our state. The economy depends on it. The second home market around the lakes is huge, and that tax revenue funds the county governments and pays for all of our schooling in this region. Here's another issue that's new. The Roanoke River is the strategic supply for the future, for water supply for the future of North Carolina. The Neuse River Basin cannot supply the Triangle region of North Carolina for its future growth. And this community is growing with jobs, good jobs, from the healthcare sector, from technology, things that last forever and contribute to society.
Right. Yes. Right.
Technology jobs last forever?
North Carolina Coalition, and soon you'll hear from the legislature and the governor, is against uranium mining, period, in an area that is prone to hurricanes, heavy downpours like what you experienced on the way in today, and for crying out loud, 90 miles from the epicenter of a 6.1 earthquake. All of these things are what cause a breach in a 40-acre containment cell. And that's what's new.
Thank you,
North Carolina.
But I have a suggestion, folks. I'm Ken Ferruccio, former president of Warren County Citizens Concerned about PCBs, where the theoretical and activist model of environmental justice was developed and formulated and enacted. And I'd just like to say, guys, that you've made some excellent points, but just in case, it's not too soon to start organizing resistance. And by that I mean integrating it, coordinating it, and focusing it through the social media. Just in case, because if this continues, it will no doubt go to due process. But just in, it's going to, and there will be litigation. I think you've got complicated problems constitutionally, such as shared sovereignty of the rivers. I don't think one state can override the sovereignty of another. North Carolina is not going to go for this, you know that. But just in case, there's enough money to buy out the politicians, the legislators, and the courts. Just in case there's enough money to buy out the Supreme Court. We need to be ready, and we will, because if it leaves the courts, it's going to be up to us to protect the water all the way from here to Virginia Beach, and we're prepared to do that.
And let me tell you, going to jail is not scary. I thought it would be. We went to jail 550 times, and we got a PCB landfill. It was going to be a national and international landfill. We stopped a 700-acre landfill. People near us stopped an incinerator, a toxic incinerator, a deadly disease lab, all through the commitment to education backed by civil disobedience and the threat of it.
One more thing I want to say, I'll add to that what Deborah said, my ex-spouse said. I want to say one more thing, and that is whenever proposals like this, whenever people try to make ideas like this prevail, and guys, you've got to understand here, all we have here is a rationale for selective regional human sacrifice under the guise of science and technology. That's all that this is about. That's all that's about. Okay, and whenever we see a rationale for selective human sacrifice, in this case regional sacrifice, rearing its ugly head, and we see people who stand to make a lot of money at the cost of Virginians and North Carolinians. Whenever people try to make this sort of thing prevail, it's just about impossible to stay out of jail.
I also have Karen Marty, who's president of Fremont Residents in Defense of the Environment. And Karen, you want to say a few things?
Yes, I'm not nearly as eloquent as the previous speaker, so I've brought some problems. And I have pictures. The governor is aggressively fast-tracking legislation to lift the moratorium on uranium mining and exercising blatant disregard for the Constitution of Virginia. The Coal and Energy Commission is complicit in this. The Virginia Coal and Energy Commission, through its uranium subcommittee, secured the National Academy of Sciences and Chamorro reports. Both the NAS and Chamorro reports explored risks, benefits regarding uranium mining and milling in Virginia and at Coles Hill. The highly anticipated NAS report funded by Virginia Uranium cited steep hurdles that need to be overcome before mining and milling should be considered. Both reports urged transparency in all of Virginia's deliberations on these issues. Both reports failed to indicate that uranium mining and milling could be done in a manner that would safeguard human health, the environment, and our economy. In January of 2012, correspondence with the secretaries, Governor McDonnell cited Article 5, Section 8 of the Constitution of Virginia as giving him the authority to form the Uranium Working Group. The governor exceeded the authority granted to him in Article 5, Section 8. It does not grant him the authority to form an interagency review process, nor create a draft statutory conceptual regulatory framework. The Coal and Energy Commission, Governor McDonnell, and the Uranium Working Group are drafting conceptual regulatory framework for the benefit of one company. If the General Assembly elects to adopt the Uranium Working Group's regulatory framework for one company, it will then be in violation of Virginia's Constitution, Article 4, Section 14, number 18. And I've gotten the citations here for anyone who wants to see the citations. The Uranium Working Group lacks citizen representation on all levels and has decreased transparency, which the NAS and Chimura reports stressed is an essential component to this process. Virginia's Constitution states the people are the source of the power. The governor and the Coal and Energy Commission need to be reminded of for whom they work. The Coal and Energy Commissioner and Governor McDonnell appear to have formed a government separate from and independent of the government of Virginia for the purpose of one corporation to mine and mill uranium in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This, too, is a violation of Virginia's Constitution, Article 1, Section 14. Pride is a member of the KTB, Keep the Ban Coalition, and is in firm support of keeping the current moratorium on Virginia for uranium mining. At present, the governor and the Coal and Energy Commission's actions are not consistent with a government concerned with common benefit, protection, and security of the people, producing the greatest degree of happiness and safety, nor effectively securing against the danger of maladministration. Indeed, it is maladministration, as required by Virginia's Constitution, Article 1, Section 3. The citizens of Virginia are being railroaded by the governor and the Coal and Energy Commission. This train needs to be derailed. Now, for those of you that are visual learners, we have a diagram. Here is the train. Here is the governor. Governor Bob's fast track to uranium mining and milling. Regulations, radiation, ruination. It is the McDonnell, VC, and EC, and UWG rail line. And look here. Wait! You forgot us, the Virginia legislators. So we need to have some representation. We're being kept out of this, out of these deliberations. Thank you.